Welcome to another episode of my host show, Chapin. Today, training camp day 5. The Detroit Lions put on the pads. They got ready to battle, and that's what you want to see. Obviously, if you aren't clued in, Sunday will be the last Sunday without football until March. Look, there's a lot of things to get to, so let's get to the practice notes from Tim Twentyman and Mike O'Hara from DetroitLions.com. They have put together a great kind of rundown of what's going on with the Detroit Lions, and they were there so they get to experience it. So first thing first, watching defensive back C.J. Gardner-Johnson work out on his own during practice was one of the best signs of the first week of practice. It looked like he might have sustained a serious injury earlier in camp, but that was not the case. Gardner-Johnson was running sprints at close to full speed. So that sounds exactly like the Detroit Lions will not be without Chauncey Gardner-Johnson for long. It was a scare to everyone when they heard the news, but it seems to be that he's going to be okay, and he's really close to returning. But if you're a Detroit Lions fan, you're just saying, let's put him on ice, and we'll see you in the regular season when we actually need you against Kansas City. Next thing is O-line versus D-line. Now, this is one of the biggest emphasis that they had. It says one-on-one pass drills between the offense and defense linemen are always one of the favorite periods to watch for people. It's hard to be good on either side of the ball if you're not good up front. And here's a few highlights from those sessions. I had a win for all starting offensive linemen: Penn Isil, Graham Glasgow, Frank Ragnow, Jonah Jackson, and Taylor Decker on their first reps, giving the O-line a 5-0 head start. The defensive line mixed in some wins after the first wave went to the offensive line. Aiden Hutchinson put a nice move on Sewell on their second rep for the win. Hutchinson looked more comfortable and settled in his second training camp. You'll love to hear that because Aiden Hutchinson is a huge part of this team, and we're going to need him week 1 against the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Now, Lee McNeil, he lost 22 pounds. He shedded some weight, and this is what I want to get to. Lee McNeil has lost 22 pounds, and he's trimmed the body fat. He has done so well without losing any strength. That's the key. He didn't lose any strength. According to both Ragnow and Jackson, a slimmer McNeil looks like a quicker McNeil. As he and Ragnow, as he had Ragnow reaching air for the first rep. It seems to me like McNeil, with his shedded body weight, is going to be a more complete pass rusher. And if you're a Detroit Lions fan, this is the best case scenario because obviously everyone knows that the Detroit Lions have an issue at defensive tackle. And if Aleem McNeil can be your pass rushing tackle with a hybrid defensive tackle, like, when they insert Kaminsky in the defensive tackle position or Romeo Okwara, that could be good, very good for the Detroit Lions, especially with a slimmer McNeil. And then they go on to say rookie defensive tackle Broderick Martin is strong. He's got long arms and a bull, and that bull rush is real. I told people before, Broderick Martin will be one of the best players. He's not going to be the best player, but he's going to be a really good player for the Detroit Lions, especially up the middle. He's going to serve a purpose for the Detroit Lions this year, and I could see him making an impact week 1. To be honest, I think he's that far along, and I know he's. I don't think of him as a pass rusher, so if he just stops the run, that could be really crucial for the Detroit Lions team moving forward. Next, we go to Jack on the spot. They say during a team period Friday, Jack Campbell did a nice job of punching the ball out on Craig Reynolds. Now, so it goes on to say after Craig Reynolds made a short catch over the middle. You love to see your rookie make the smallest of adjustments to make himself known, and that's exactly what you see with Jack Campbell. It's good awareness for him to punch the ball out, and when you get to a point during the season, that rookie instinct or your instincts of being a football player are eventually going to subside, and you're going to become more conscientious of the game and have a football IQ that comes out and shows in your game. So I think a lot of people and a lot of rookies early on, they kind of they're trying to get used to college ball, but it's not college ball, it's NFL ball, and sometimes you have to make some crucial plays. So when Jack Campbell punches the ball over a short pass over the middle, that tells me that his football IQ is on point, number one. And number two, that's a good sign of his development of how he's reading the play and reacting to the same play at the same time. Now, they talked about Cameron Sutton, who he said that he was mixing it up all practice. He wasn't afraid to hit. He wasn't shying away from contact. Really wanted to hit. And when you read that, you're like, this is going to be a great thing. Campbell and tight end Brock Wright had to sprinted battle in one-on-one drills. That's really not nothing to know. But the whole takeaway from day 5 is, first of all, you like to see Broderick Martin proven to be a real problem in the middle. Aleem McNeil shedding pounds and then having a pass rush to boot is even better than we could have thought. And if you're a Detroit Lions fan, that can be the most scariest thing about this team, because everyone who follows this team knows that they needed a defensive tackle that could rush the passer. And if one of those players is on the roster, whether it's Levi Onwuzurike, whether it's Aleem McNeil, any of them, if they can become a pass rusher and help the Detroit Lions defense get to the quarterback, that will be very, very helpful, because the defensive ends are going to do their part. It's all about the defensive tackle, and if the defensive tackles can maintain a pass rush up the middle, you're going to win a lot of football games, and it's going to be very, very fun to watch, and you're going to have a lot of time where you're like, man, that pass rush up the middle really helped that Aiden Hutchinson get to that player and make the sack on that. So day 5, training camp, pads came on, Detroit Lions. Everything you're hearing is really good, and you're hoping that it stays that way. No injuries, and we're gonna see what they actually have next week, as when all the fans go to practice. We're gonna hear people that are fans that have opinions, and it's gonna be very fun to hear from everyone. And look, I don't react too much to practice, because I think practice is number one. It's to get the body right. So when you hear all these stuff, like, it can be overhyped and everything. But when you hear that Aleem McNeil has shedded weight, when you hear that Broderick Martin's bull rush, which was one of his signature moves at Western Kentucky, is staying on put, and the one thing that people were wondering about was Jack Campbell, and how would his progression go in the NFL game. It seems like it's coming along pretty freaking fine, and they're going to be a really good team. And you like the way the rookies are developing. You like the way the players that are coming back in their second and third year are developing. And this is going to be a really fun year for the Detroit Lions. So if you're new to the channel, subscribe below. We're going to keep more Detroit Lions content. This is training camp day 5, and we will see you in the next video. So stay tuned to that.